What's up, Jets fans? This is Green Bean, and as you can see, we're going to have a little bit of a different one today. We are driving home from our Jet Life experience for Monday Night Football. The Talking Jets meetup was amazing, but we're driving home now in the same spirit that we usually drive home from the games in. We lost, but right now we're driving through the great state of Maryland currently, about to drive through Baltimore, and I get to look at a stadium where people run in there all the time and are so happy. They're happy when they walk in, they're happy while they're there, and then they leave happy. What an amazing thing that must be. Welcome to episode 138 of Green Bean's Jets Pod. We'll talk about a few things. I do want to say thank you first. It's very important that I thank everyone who came up and hung out with us. I'll start first with O'Leary and Ryan, who were part of putting this together. Ryan did a lot of the work of organizing and keeping track of the tickets and everything, so thanks to Ryan and Matt. But in addition to that, I want to thank a lot of you guys that showed up at the most amazing tailgate with Tailgate Joe, who just, I gotta say, man, I've been to some good tailgates, and there's a lot of good organizations and good groups that hold fantastic tailgates. There's nothing quite like a Tailgate Joe experience, and it was unbelievable.
First thing I want to say to my Charger fans, swoop, 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 and then one more thing.
And now let's show them, Joe.
Oh yeah. Let me take the lead.
J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets.
This is what fan unity looks like right here.
We had our own VIP tent with the Talking Jets stuff up. We were taking pictures and lots of drinks and food and games, and it was an amazing time. We had such an incredible experience before the game. Now, some of us got to go in at the 5:15 period and watch the Jets practice. I heard that one wasn't all that great, but then we had the 7:30 experience, which I'll show you guys a little bit of what happened.
Feet again. Let's go, Jets, baby. All right, guys, just hang tight right here for me, all right? Right here? Perfect.
This is great.
Here we are. All right, thank you. Stay behind. Let's go, Jets, baby. Let's go, Jets. Let's go.
Man, was that a special one. We got to go on the field in the end zone while they announced the Jets players coming in. So especially on a Monday night when they turn the lights off and all the wristband lights go on and we're all excited and they're playing Thunderstruck by AC/DC. And they announced each player, they did the defense, and boy oh boy were we psyched. The energy was, you could cut it with a knife, man. It was so thick and powerful and potent, and we had an amazing experience. Now before that experience, right before they shut the lights off, we got another cool little thing that we did, which was we were there when Zerline was practicing his field goals, and he was kicking it right into we were underneath the goalpost, and he was kicking it right in that goalpost. We got to see that. But as the ball went into the net, our group was standing there to catch the balls, and my nephew ended up catching one. So he was as psyched as psyched could be.
Show stuff, I got it!
It was amazing. I've never gotten to do that. I'm 50 years old. I never did that. So that was an amazing experience for him. But the whole group, we left that experience feeling like this is going to be one of the best nights we've ever had. The tailgate was amazing. The on-field experience was amazing. We're catching field goal kicks from our amazing kicker. We walk up to the seats. By the time we got there, it was 7-0 because of the special teams punt return for a touchdown, which you have to admit, our unit's great, but even great units have a play here and there. Some things are going to happen. But that was not a great way to start the game. We sit down at 7-0. And the game didn't get much better from there, as you know. But there's a thing I want to talk to you guys about. And it's not so much the fact that I'm really second-guessing whether I should ever go to games again. Not because of me. I can deal with it. I've been through, man, I sat in that stadium all through the coat-tight years. And I've been there, done it, man. It's not so much about me. Although this drive does sucks the balls after a loss, I'll tell you. But it's more about, I'm honestly questioning whether my presence in that building is a positive. Because I don't just watch losses anymore. I go up there and I watch some of the most embarrassing games that we could possibly muster. It's like some of the worst games of the seasons that I go. Even my last game at Giant Stadium, I went up there because obviously I don't live in the area anymore. But I drove up from Florida. I was living in Florida, and I think I might have flown up for that one. But still, I flew up for my last game in Giant Stadium, and that just happened to be the Mark Sanchez 5-interception game against the Buffalo Bills. You want to talk about a clunker. So I go and see that, and then I go, and I had one good game in 2015. My son's first ever Jet home game against the Jaguars. We won that. That was the Fitzmagic, Decker, Marshall year. And we got to see that. But since then, I mean, I was at Zach's first home opener. He threw 4 picks. Last year, the Ravens, what did we do then? That was another turd. You know, it's like, it's embarrassing. We get to be in that stadium and watch other teams' fans have just the greatest time. And I can't justify doing that to you guys anymore. It's got to be me, because we know we do all this great stuff all throughout the year, and I'm like, I'm going, and then this is what I see. So I want to apologize to everybody for that one. I'm really sorry. It's got to be. I got to at least be part of the problem. But I think a bigger problem, and we'll talk about that, is there's kind of a debate going on in Jet fandom right now, which is, you know, is it Zach or not, right? So is it Zach? And I'm going to tell you, I firmly reside on the side of this argument that says Zach is the significantly larger portion of the problem. We've seen bad O-lines. We've seen lesser wide receiver cores with Mike White, you know, Josh Johnson, Joe Flacco, even Chris Streveler. And they all look better and do better things than Zach Wilson is able to do. I mean, a Zach Wilson-led offense, by and large, outside of a couple here and there, is like a 200-yard game at best and 10 points at best. You know, he might score 13, something like that. But we have 8 touchdowns on the year in 8 games. I think there are, 3 or 4 teams that have done that. Forgive me, I don't have the stat in front of me. I was reading it this morning because I'm driving, as you see. But we have 3 or 4 teams in the last 10, 20 years, whatever it is, that had 8 touchdowns or less in their first 8 games. And wouldn't you have it that 2 of them are Zach Wilson-led teams? I think 2 or 3. It's the Jets and one other team. Maybe the Browns. So when you look at it all, yes, were there problems in the offensive line? Yeah, sure. Billy Turner is not who I want to see out there anymore. He gave up 10 pressures and 2 sacks in one game. That is incredibly porous for an offensive lineman. That is way too sieve-like for me. But at the same time, we're there watching it. We're not watching it on TV. We had 50-yard line upper level, so we could see the whole field, the whole game. And I got to tell you, there were numerous times where we were yelling. Zach has 3 seconds in the pocket. There's a pocket. 3 full seconds, and there is at least 1, sometimes 2 receivers running wide open. He either can't see them, or he's afraid to let it fly. And there was the other side of it, which was this defense, which is among the worst defenses in the NFL, their weakness being the passing game. They dared Zach to beat them just like every other team. They're in man the entire game, and they're blitzing people almost every play. They're taking away the run game, and the middle of the field is wide open, and Zach won't run it forward. Instead, he holds onto the ball for 3.5, 4 seconds. He starts backpedaling, won't just throw the ball out of bounds, won't just throw it through the end zone. He just won't do it. He takes the sack on 3rd down far too often. We saw it in the Giants game on 4th and 10. There was a wide open guy directly in front of him. So there's something with this quarterback, everybody. And I know people are going to point to Hackett, who has, there's reasons to have gripes against Hackett. There are reasons to have gripes against the offensive line. There was somebody I was looking at today. They were talking about the ineffectiveness of our running game. I don't even know how you can talk about the running game. I really don't. They're keying on it. They're putting their resources into stopping Breece Hall. So you have to have a Zach Wilson-led offense, and he cannot do it. He's proven it time and time and time again. This is the 3rd season of what looks like identically similar football. It's the same. Now, the defense, people saying we gave up 27 points. Now, obviously, 7 of that was the punt return, so that brings it down to 20. Then the Zach Wilson-led offense gave them the ball on the half-yard line, right? The defense couldn't stop them with a 1.5 feet from the goal line. So that's another 7 points. So now we're down to 13. And the other fumble gave him the ball, on the 35 or something like that? So, I don't know what you want this defense to do. You look at the stats. Team Beat, do me a favor, pull up the Justin Herbert stats. Once again, this defense makes one of the upper echelon, arguably elite quarterbacks in the NFL look pedestrian. We did it with Jalen Hurts. We did it with Patrick Mahomes. We did it with Russell Wilson. We did it with Justin Herbert. Did it with Josh Allen. Listen to these stats. So, go ahead, Team Bean. Come on over here. I got Team Bean with me.
Justin Herbert had 136 passing yards, which is a career low.
Career low.
5 sacks taken, tied for career high.
Tied for career high. So right there, he has his worst ever passing yard performance in the NFL, and tied for his worst sack total. Just to get us started. Now I want to thank Michael Nania. I'm pulling this from his Twitter account. So Michael Nania put this together, one of the great statisticians of our Jets reporting structure. So thank you, Michael Nania and Jets X Factor. But okay, go on.
Herbert also had a 65.4 passer rating, which is a season low and the 2nd worst in his career.
65.4?
Yep.
65.4 passer rating. Worst of the season, 2nd lowest of his career.
And then finish it off, he had 4.5 yards per attempt, which is his third worst of career.
4.5 yards per attempt, which is the third worst of his career. Now, you know what that stat speaks to? That speaks to DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, and the crew not allowing him to do what he wants to do, which is hit Keenan Allen and crew for the mid-range to deeps. That's what he's taking away. That's what we're taking away. So we're forcing him to run around in the pocket. Bless you. We're forcing him to run around in the pocket and choose his checkdowns. That's what we're forcing him to do. So yet again, the defense gives up a legitimate 13 points, which I would even argue legitimate 7. Let's say it's 13 though. So once again, the defense gives our offense 13 points to fight against. Now you gotta factor in obviously the special teams, but our offense should have been able to keep up with this team without issue, and we cannot do it. 6 points. Another game with 1 touchdown or less, and again, no touchdowns in this one. Now, last week's touchdown, as you know, came on the Brees Hall broke it for, I don't know, 50-something yards. It was a screen. It was a little dump off, actually. A little dump off to Brees, and Brees made magic happen like he likes to do. And the week before that, we scored no touchdowns. The Eagles they basically let us go in. Gotta move it. The defense of the Eagles let us score because they wanted to get the ball back to have a chance to win it. We all know the deal. So, when you collect these performances, and the Giants game. Sorry, the phone fell, and I forgot what I was saying. So we got to talk about the next thing as I go through the tunnel here. Ooh, loud in the tunnel. We're talking about an offense that cannot score points. He had a terrible game against the Giants, 24 seconds, and we got lucky, and it's okay, that happens. But what we're looking at here is an offense that if everybody else doesn't play perfectly, when Zach Wilson is able to put together a pass that works, or even sometimes a drive that looks decent, if there are any mistakes by anybody else, we have no shot, because the rest of the game is going to look like dog shit because of the way that he can't seem to run an offense. He won't run forward. I mean, look, has he improved? Yes, I guess arguably. A lot of statistics would argue otherwise. You look at our points last year and this year, but I don't even know. I mean, maybe I don't know. We had a lot of other quarterbacks playing last year when you look at the offense versus this year's offense. But it's really hard to justify starting this guy anymore, man. This has been the longest sample size of a terrible quarterback that I've seen. And look, when he plays even moderately decent, we all get excited and we're willing to give him a pass. It's got to stop. They have to make some serious decisions this week. Now, do I think that he's not going to start against the Raiders? No, I think that he's probably going to end up starting. Because the truth is, when we get all doom and gloom and everything, the truth is that the Jets are now 3-1 in the last 4 games. There it is. Hey, look at this. So there's a good stadium. See it?
Let's see.
M&T Bank Stadium. You see it back there? Hold the phone.
So this is a.
You see
it?
Yeah,
there it is.
There it is. That's where the winners go. They're always it's the happiest place on earth. So yeah, I mean, Robert Saleh has to make a big move this week. Even if he chooses to start Zach Wilson, which I don't think he should, but I think he's gonna. I think that you have to make the move to bump Trevor Siemian up from the practice squad to the number 2 quarterback. If you have no faith in Boyle, if you're not willing to put this guy on the field, then you gotta make it so if Zach completely craps the bed again, that we have a viable option. And nobody I don't think Trevor Siemian is sparking excitement in anyone's world. But man, oh man, we just need a competent quarterback. We need somebody that's going to hit the open guy. There are open guys. Oh, I'm so sick of hearing, but there's nobody open. That's just not true. Are there plays where there's nobody? Of course. But it's not true. To the degree that we give Zach Wilson a pass on nobody being open is, I mean, it's bordering absurd. I'm telling you, I watch the All-22 most weeks, just about every week. This week I was watching a game. I don't just watch the quarterback. I look down the field. I'm watching who's open. And I see it every play. There are times when we have a guy open for a 12-yard gain and Zach will choose to dump off. He'll do it. If he has the choice, he takes the short pass. And that's what he does. And it's time. Now, the good news is, like I said, we are 1-3 the last 3 weeks. So the season's not over. The reason it feels like it's over is the same reason if a game that we're down 3-0 feels like it's over. It's because our offense is anemic. So the last time, the good news being, the last time that we had this kind of spurt of Zach Wilson brilliance in the Chiefs game and then in the Eagles game, he was able to move the ball. At least got us into the red zone 5 times where we could kick field goals. Was right after we signed Trevor Siemian. And we signed Trevor Siemian right after the Patriots game debacle. What is that guy doing? That is some serious radar equipment over there. So we signed Trevor Siemian. It's a real threat to Zach Wilson. Clearly, he doesn't view Tim Boyle as any sort of threat. We signed Trevor Siemian, and all of a sudden, Zach snaps out of it, and he plays the best game of his career, and then looks at least competent in the Eagles game. And then the Giants game, he looked like crap the whole game. Raining, wet, drop passes, right? Sound familiar? And then in 24 seconds and in overtime, he was able to get us to the win. So we're willing to give him a pass. But it's got to stop. Like, the defense just can't carry. They can't carry the whole team the whole year. They can't do it. As good as they are, man. Because, again, you can talk about the 27 points. You can talk about, them struggling to get off the field at times. Dude, they made Justin Herbert look pedestrian, just like they did with every other quarterback that they've played this year. They're doing their job and then some. They're being placed in terrible positions. And it's time. Robert Saleh has to have a sack. The season is not lost. We're 4-4. 3-1 over the last 4 weeks of football. We lose a game to a team that's at least got they're good offensively. We made them look really good defensively, but they're a good team. Now we can go play the Raiders, which unfortunately for us, they're buzzing. They fired their coach. Antonio Pierce has them all fired up and ready to go. They go out there and they beat the Giants. They're psyched up. We're going into their house. They're ready. So we get them on a season high. And if we don't do something, if we're not prepared to make the switch from a quarterback who clearly, once he gets in these ruts, clearly he is among the most ineffective quarterbacks I've ever watched play the game of football. We have to have an answer to that. We're going to lose the entire team. And we're going to lose the season. The reason that it feels like the season is lost is because Zach Wilson is that quarterback. That's why. And the offense is terrible. Does Lazard need to cut the shit? Oh, yeah. Does Billy Turner, we need to do something there? Oh, yeah. But even with all of that, I'm going to tell you, I think that the offensive line did enough. They did enough. Zach has to know. We're playing Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and I got an injured, banged-up line, and I have Tippmann starting at center for the first time in his career. Maybe once I count to 2.5 in my head, I got to start thinking about throwing the ball away at least. taking these sacks. It's unbelievable. And that's not to give the O-line a pass. Please understand. And I'm not giving the wide receivers a pass. I didn't like how Garrett Wilson got all fired up for, in my mind, really no reason. He didn't get crushed out of bounds or anything. And then the next play gets a penalty against that player because he's hot-headed. And we lose a 20-yard run to Breece Hall. I mean, that stuff can't happen, but it's not to give it a pass. But Garrett Wilson's a stud. Garrett Wilson's earned a bad moment. You know, Breece Hall, these guys, they've earned a bad moment or two. Wide receivers are going to drop passes from time to time. The reason that it's highlighted for us is because when they finally make it to their hands, we need them to catch it because it's not always there. So we're willing to give the one guy pass after pass after pass, and then when other guys make mistakes, we're amplifying them to cover the inadequacies of the quarterback. And it's just, we can't do it anymore. Robert Saleh has to make a move. He's got to keep control of the locker room and show accountability. We have Trevor Siemian on the roster. We just saw Dobbs. He was on the damn Vikes for 5 days. We've had Trevor Siemian since after the Patriots game. It's a month. He knows the offense good enough. Let's go. Let's go. So I don't know what to say about that. But I'm going to tell you, man, the thing that bothers me the most is how those Jets fans, thousands upon thousands of us, go into that building or watch on TV. You know, we buy tickets, we buy merch, and we have to endure. We have no choice in the matter. Our coach, our GM, whoever it is, are married to this kid. They're going to sink their entire careers based on this guy. And it doesn't make sense to me. You saw it in with the 49ers. They used 3 first-round picks and a third for Trey Lance. 2 years in, they identified, he ain't the guy. And they shipped him off. Look at the Cardinals with Josh Rosen. They realized after 1 year, yes, he was our first-round pick. This guy ain't gonna work. He's atrocious, and the team hates him. And they moved on the next year. They used their next pick on a quarterback, Kyler Murray, who we have a lot to say about him too. But still, the point remains: if you see with your eyes and you remove your heart, you'll see what we see. So I feel for us. And again, not for me so much, but I feel for all the Jets fans because we don't deserve it, dude. We don't deserve to have to watch this. We don't deserve to have to endure this. We deserve to have our voices heard. There are so many people in that stadium yelling and screaming, begging for something to change. And it's status quo. So we got a lot to see this week. It's technically a short week, even though it's a late game on Sunday. You get a couple hours back, but we got to fly to the West Coast, not the coast, but we got to fly out west, and we got to play a surging, albeit for 1 week, but a reinvigorated Las Vegas Raiders, and we better come with more than one option to save our season, because we lose to the Raiders and now we're 4-5 and it starts to get ugly from there. And then we go to the Bills and Miami. You see what I'm saying? We need to win this one. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting week to see what Robert Saleh does, because he's got to put on his big boy pants and he's got to show his team that nobody is above the law. Nobody is above absolutely sucking. I don't know if he'll do it. At minimum, you got to have Trevor Siemian as a number 2. If that sparks a fire under Zach's ass and he plays complimentary football, great, good. Doesn't matter to me at this point. I'm not a Zach hater. I just don't believe that he's ever going to be a legitimate quarterback. Maybe he'll pull a Geno Smith, and in 9 years from now, maybe he's competent. Who knows? But as far as being this guy for the New York Jets, man, the ship has sailed. And maybe, the reset, of course, it lasted 4 plays. And all right, there's lots of reasons. Doesn't matter. We're here now. This is what we're looking at. You can't shoulda, woulda, coulda. You got to just look at it and say, this ain't working. I need to do something else. You got Trevor Siemian. He's been a serviceable NFL quarterback before. Put him in there and let him just dink and dunk his friggin' way down the field, throwing 10-yard passes, use the middle of the field. It's just crazy. But something's got to happen. Just like Mike White did. He came in, he just said, I'm just going to take the easy stuff. And we won games. Or at least look good. So, with that all said, Jets fans, I'm sorry we're having this kind of week again. Even the victory over the Giants, you couldn't really enjoy it much because we saw the truth again. And to be able to endure these games, it's wearing thin, isn't it? It's wearing thin. But it was a pleasure, an honor, truly, to meet so many of you guys this weekend. You even got to meet our buddy Jake Assman, came over to the tailgate to say hello. That was amazing. That was my first time getting to meet him in person anyway. It's a weird thing with us. We all talk online so much, and then we don't meet each other for years. So I think it was 2021 when I first started talking to Jake. So cool to get to meet him. But so many of you guys, amazing. An amazing experience. And it's just a shame that it ended up this way. If we at least made it a game. And let me tell you this. I'm going to say one more thing. The disrespect and the Jets hate out there is so real. And I'm going to give you an example of why. What do the Chargers have to hate on the Jets? What? Where's the rub? Is there any real heat between the New York Jets and the San Diego-less Chargers? No, right? There's nothing there. It's not the Bills. It's not the Dolphins. It's nothing. When they scored their last touchdown, do you know what their celebration was in the end zone? I don't know if they showed it on TV or not, but I saw it. The entire team, the entire offense went over to one side of the end zone. They put their arms out in the wings, and they ran together across our end zone like Jets, making fun of us. And the whole stadium full of Chargers fans, because Jets fans were largely evacuated by that point. A few of us were still there. They laughed and laughed and laughed. And so they prepared that for us. Why you gotta rub that in our face? What is that? So I'm just gonna tell you, man, it's us against the world. So we need to stop, feeding on ourselves, because we're the only ones dealing with this. Nobody else is dealing with this. It's us. So the bare minimum that we can do is stick together. And we all know, even Zach Wilson truthers, you gotta see it at this point. It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter what else is going on. He's more than half of the problem, in my opinion. And it's time to at least shake up the box of marbles, man. You know what I mean? You got to shake it up. So, guys, I hope you have a good week. I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to do the Talking Jets tonight, but this will be released probably after that. But, hey, I still love you guys. It was great to meet you. Have a great week, everybody. And as always, go Jets.